Mexico have won the 2025 Gold Cup, beating the U.S. 2-1 in the final. And frankly, Mexico did deserve it. The U.S. were second best in this game. Mexico outpossessed them. They had the better chances. Although the U.S. did get robbed in this match of a penalty when the score was still 1-1. So that was a major talking point, something I will touch on here. But also, what I'm going to do is go over why Mexico were so dominant on the ball. So welcome to Campfire Football. I'm Sebastian North. Let's go ahead and round out this Gold Cup series by breaking down the final. Well, it all starts out so well. Once again, the U.S. have actually started a lot of games in a very good fashion. Under Pochettino, most of the time, the first 10 minutes are very good, and this is something we have seen multiple times. Berhalter with a free kick, connecting with Chris Richards. He does very well to take a step and then run in behind. The ball is absolutely fantastic. The header as well, it goes off the crossbar, hits the ground. We don't have goal line technology, so we can't be 100% certain it went all the way over the line, but hell, that's good enough for me. And the U.S. are off to a barnstorming start. It was absolutely terrific to see, and it set the game up very well. Now, the thing is that the U.S. had one stretch of possession, 10 minutes in here, that we would have liked to see a lot more of. The problem is they were very sloppy on the ball in the first half with too many turnovers. This right here is an example of what we would have wanted to see. Berhalter gets the ball, plays it to Arvston, it comes back to Ream, and now everyone can sort of spread out. And they have to beat this first press because Mexico right away running forward, but Adams completely open in the midfield. No one gets to him quick enough. He does get pressure and sees that it's coming, so he gets it back off his foot. But now 5 Mexican players have pushed forward. And Edson Alvarez realized this and is like, I gotta back off because the big ball over me is gonna be a problem. He leaves Tillman. Tillman's open, puts his hand up, and this ball from Ream all the way through is excellent. So Tillman brings it down, gets away from Alvarez, gives it out to Freeman. Mexico have to drop their lines back, and you can reestablish possession in their half. When you do this, you can then involve Arvston. You can then get Alex Freeman up the pitch. You can get Luna into little spaces, but Luna ideally should be getting himself into this area with Arvston pushing up the line. And we just didn't see enough of that pattern, and that really hurt the U.S. because there just were not enough open passes. Mexico were funneling the U.S. into this area, and then, well, we were just turning the ball over way too much from here. Now, as for Mexico, what were they doing that was causing the U.S. so many problems? Well, the main thing is the front three for Mexico of Vega, Alvarado, and Jimenez were actually pretty tight. They were basically always within the width of the 18-yard box. The width was being provided by the fullbacks, and so a lot of the time, Mexico were playing with a front 5. And the U.S. back line got a lot tighter. Luna and Berhalter were struggling to know, should they mark up on midfielders or should they follow the fullbacks? And that confusion just really made it difficult for the U.S. Although Mexico were doing a lot of this possession from side to side, the U.S. was chasing the ball a lot. And the big problem was Gallardo here, the left back, wide open a lot. Sanchez, the right back, was doing the same thing on the other side. And then the problem here is that the U.S., a lot of the time, you'd have Tyler Adams and De La Torre. They were shielding the U.S. back line pretty well. They weren't really picking anyone up. And so Jimenez would sort of drop into spaces. There you see Adams going towards him to make sure he doesn't get it. But once it gets released, he's got to start pushing forward, and now Mexico can do little small combinations, one-touch balls to get themselves free, and then they're involving their fullbacks and getting them up into the box. This was really what Mexico were doing, and look, they did it very well. It made it so that the U.S. were chasing the ball around the whole time. And this clip right here is basically just foreshadowing for Mexico's equalizing goal, and here it is. Alvarez, the holding midfielder, stepping way up. So are the rest of the Mexico defenders and midfielders. Everyone's looking around asking for the ball. And as it comes back across right here, you can see there's just open players. I mean, how are you able to find so much space in the midfield? Once again, you've got Gallardo. Here he gets the ball. Now, the question for the U.S. is who goes out to pressure? Is it Freeman or Berhalter? And frankly, it doesn't really matter which one, but they've got to get out to the ball a lot quicker and not allow Gallardo to really get his head up, because here, Adams sees this player coming closer to the ball and he's like, I got to go mark him. But right behind him is a runner. And once he gets the ball, now he's at the top of the box looking up. He might be able to shoot, but it's Jimenez making a really nice little run. Ream should probably step up and get Jimenez offside because that really would work here. Ream is the one keeping him on, but that little threaded ball through is excellent. Ream, I think here just tried to keep his legs a little bit closed to not get megged with a shot to the far post, but because he doesn't actually lunge for it, He can't get the block in. The finish is pretty excellent, and it's 1-1. But right here, you'll see what the problem the U.S. were having this entire first half. Gallardo, the left back on the ball, goes back the other way, and you can see it's basically a front five. And when this ball went back, Ajimang needs to be running and actually making some kind of an attempt to press. The U.S.'s press was again, really poor. This is something that Pochettino is going to have to address. And when teams are able to move them side to side, it's an issue. You can see here Luna pointing out towards Sanchez, like someone's got to take him. Well, Arston already has someone to mark. And Gilberto Mora, the 16-year-old, he was able to find all kinds of space. He was having way too much fun to be a 16-year-old in a final in this game. But Mexico were just really owning the ball in this scenario. And the U.S. were sort of pressing in a 4-5-1 or a 4-4-2 like this. But still, it was the fullbacks, Sanchez and Gallardo, out on the touchlines, just constantly open. And so here, if you want to, if you're Mexico, you can just lift the ball into the corner. Now, Freeman's kind of ready for it. But if the ball ends up going wide, like right here, it just takes too long to get pressure on it. And once Berhalter gets there, it's too late. The ball inside can already be played, and Mexico were just connecting passes. 3 guys going to 1. That means there's loads of space elsewhere. Then they switch the ball to the other side. And once again, Mexico are able to reset that shape. The fact that Edson Alvarez is able to carry the ball so far forward without any pressure is a problem. Here, what I would have liked to see Luna do is step up a little bit, cut the ball out to the wide area, and force Mexico to play into the middle. I don't think Mexico would have done as much damage to the U.S. if they were not able to find their fullbacks. But it was way too easy for them to go side to side, make the U.S. run all over the place, tire them out, and then eventually pick them off. So we get into the second half, and the problem would not really be resolved. And you just cannot allow your opponent to get the ball, drive forward like this, and then be able to just play the next simple pass and continue to run on. Then once one guy goes, the next one can step in and receive in behind. Gilberto Mora, again here, getting the ball with tons of time and space, able to decide what he wants to do. Does he want to penetrate, or does he want to pull it back and go the other way? And you can see how many U.S. players are around, but not actually marking anybody. Edson Alvarez was getting the ball and just taking things over like Sergi Busquets the entire game. But this is where I think everyone needs to step forward. You can see Berhalter is actually running out towards the side. That I don't think is where he needs to be going. He needs to step up and cut the pass on the ground to the wide area, and that way Freeman can see if the ball's going to go over, he can run out and pressure quickly. But it's just way too easy for Mexico to just kind of shift it, move it over, and they just kept finding space. It was as if they had 12, 13 guys on the field. Then we would have the big controversial moment. Now, this was a good situation by the U.S. I think Tillman wriggling out of a couple challenges, maybe got fouled, but then he's able to get his head up and put the ball out wide. And this was one of the very rare instances where Arston was getting forward. He did have one really good shot that just missed the top corner, but the U.S. were far more dangerous when their fullbacks were able to join the attack. Now, here, Arston does a good job of driving in, sidesteps one, goes by the other, and then we have the handball. In my opinion, this is way too clear of a deliberate handball. I mean, if you're trying really hard to not put your hand on the ball there, you can miss it, you can barrel roll, you may look really awkward in what you're trying to do, but putting your hand on the ball to where you're able to stop yourself from actually falling down, I mean, that has to be called. To me, Pochettino is absolutely right to call this a disgrace. I really don't know how Mexico got away with this one. If the U.S. get a penalty there and go 2-1 up, who knows? Maybe they win the game, maybe Mexico find an equalizer. Mexico were dominant, so it would have been tough for the U.S. to hold out to the end. But this, to me, is daylight robbery. I've seen explanations about why this may not have been called, but the thing is we've seen instances like this before, and we have seen handballs given for far less, and the U.S. got robbed. But then they would concede the winning goal for Mexico, and it's a free kick. Once again, Edson Alvarez, he scored the first goal of the Gold Cup on a header. He would score the final one. And at the beginning, this free kick, yeah, there's an offside right here when the ball's released, but it's the second run. And after the flick, Edson Alvarez completely by himself with the easiest header on the planet. He heads it home. Mexico take the 2-1 lead, and they round up and win the Gold Cup. In the end, Mexico were the deserved winners, in my opinion. Just overall, in the balance of play, they were the better team. But it is kind of a tough pill to swallow because I think the U.S. have improved so much over the course of this competition. There was really a feeling that they could do this. As I was watching it, I was like, man, this Mexico team is one step up from this U.S. team. If we've got our full starting lineup, I think this is a whole different story. Look, this Gold Cup has been really valuable for this group of players. I think it's been really valuable for Pochettino. And the guys who were away, I think they're chomping at the bit now to show that they can do something. And next summer, they can reach deep into the knockout rounds. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Sebastian North. This is Campfire Football. Take it easy.